everybody, welcome back to Late Night Review. This is an update and summary for the continued motion hearing that was abruptly ended last week, February 18th, because Judge Cannoni was presented with alarming information from the Commonwealth. Well, this is what she said. So she ended court early that day. From that, and it started out with defense's Mr. Leslie presenting in, as he calls chronological order, all court transcripts and emails between defense and ARCA and the Commonwealth in order to clear up and help the court understand the actual order of events that has got everybody to the place they are in this present day. The Commonwealth claims they didn't get all of the discovery from defense, and that he knows this because the U.S. government gave him information the defense didn't give him, which turns out to be not true. He then realized it was from the defense that this information made it to him, but that did not change his mind on chasing this rabbit down its hole. If anything, he hunkered down and continued to dig. Mr. Leslie explained that contrary to Mr. Brennan's claims last week of not being able to have access to ARCA, they actually did, in fact, have equal access to ARCA and ARCA's reports and findings. Mr. Leslie thinks that the Commonwealth probably didn't use ARCA because their reports or their findings wouldn't have supported their case. So, of course, they weren't interested. Defense also stated that ARCA did send defense a bill, but it was not to pay for their testimony, despite the Commonwealth's Mr. Brennan's claims or speculations last week. Leslie read the email from ARCA and it stated that they would need to send a retainer as required. So this was ARCA's request and it was a requirement no matter what. What do I mean by no matter what? Well, let's dissect that. Even though ARCA was requiring the defense to send a retainer fee, no one knew if ARCA was going to even be allowed to testify in the trial. Leslie said when ARCA sent that email wanting money, it took everyone by surprise. But needless to say, they did send the money for the retainer. Again, that was not to pay for their testimony. It was to retain them. With all that in mind, let's move on to the next thing. And that was Mr. Brennan saying that Judge Cannoni found the defense did in fact violate Rule 14 and that they wanted to put on the stand 3 expert witnesses that they had never met or interviewed, to which Mr. Yannetti said, yes, essentially. Defense had made an argument at that point that they did not violate Rule 14 because they didn't have any more information to give the Commonwealth. And they had, in fact, given them everything they had. Judge Bev, back then, at the time, did in fact find that the defense was in violation of Rule 14, even though the defense didn't have anything else to give, to share with the Commonwealth, which in my opinion, Judge Cannoni created this mess by siding with the Commonwealth's claims of violation of Rule 14. This could have been avoided, but this was what she did. This is how she rolled back then. And so now we're dealing with this problem here. And also because Brennan is creating problems, in my opinion. But anyway, because of the predicament everyone was in, because of this unique situation, Judge Cannoni back then came up with a solution for this problem, that they would have a voir dire. So that way, everyone would have access to the ARCA team and Dr. Russell to see if any or all of them had enough credentials to even be allowed to testify in the trial. And that's what they did back then. They questioned the hell out of all 3 of them. And as we all know, Judge Beverly said, okay, it was fine. They all 3 of them could testify. So that was the solution to this Rule 14 violation. Mr. Brennan claims that through reading the transcripts, he noticed that ARCA told the defense that they could not say certain information, and as Brennan said in court, shh, look the other way. Again, Brennan creating more problems all by his speculations, and further claiming that ARCA was tailoring their report to help defense. Again, they did not tailor their report to help defense. Defense was not even allowed to talk to ARCA, neither was the Commonwealth. That is why they had this voir dire, so everybody could talk to ARCA and find out what they were all about. Mr. Leslie had said that the claim that ARCA was tailoring their report to help defense just wasn't true. And he explained that the report that ARCA sent out was the exact same report that the Commonwealth got, as well as the defense. He said no one changed any reports, and further stated that the defense did not have access to the ARCA team, and therefore to say they conspired with ARCA to change the report is baseless. Despite Mr. Brennan's claims and speculations made in last week's motion hearing, he had in fact received all the discovery he claimed he didn't receive, and he actually received it prior to last week's motion hearing. It was shown that the Commonwealth actually got all of this information 5 days prior to last week's hearing. Mr. Leslie said he thinks everyone needs to just take a deep breath, and said he thinks Mr. Brennan just made a mistake and it was okay because everyone makes mistakes, giving him the benefit of the doubt. So now all is well. We can all just take a deep breath and say, well, it's good. It's a good thing that all this got sorted out. Mr. Brennan can put down his shovel and stop digging the hole, chasing this rabbit. Actually, in truth, Mr. Brennan actually didn't do that. He actually rebutted all of defense's evidence and 3 hours, I should say, of testimony and evidence presentation by saying, no, there is something murky going on between the defense and the U.S. government. I kid you not. This is what he said. And that I'm not kidding about. He said he thinks there is something murky going on between the defense and the federal government, and he is just not going to get the discovery he wants because they are hiding it. But this is when Judge Bev asked Mr. Brennan to show her the proof or evidence to support his claims. Just kidding. She didn't ask that, nor did she give her ruling for any of this sewage the Commonwealth continuously spewing. As at William Tardy 8137 commented in my last video, Hank is a pearl clutcher. I told you I'd start using that term. In my opinion, Hank clutched his pearls so hard and he kept digging because there was no way he was going to be proven or shown to be wrong in front of everybody or wrong at all. And that, my friends, is how you chase a rabbit down a mouse hole. On the last note, Mr. Leslie told the court that by the court ending the hearing last week without giving the defense a chance to explain or speak to the Commonwealth's claims, it created so many problems because this situation went viral and it left everyone coming up with their own conclusions, in turn hurting ARCA, its workers, the defense's law firms, and many others' credibilities because they were not given the opportunity to say anything about this. What do you guys think? Do you think this clears everything up? Do you think Hank will finally put down his shovel, stop clutching those pearls? Do you think Judge Bev will side with defense with this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you. With that, have a good night, everybody.